Santiago Idarraga is P7. Jean Ferrand is 4th. Carlos Villavicencio is P2. Best lap is a 1:47.122. Jean Ferrand is P4 driving a Chevrolet. The qualification session is at Bercy. Carlos Villavicencio from Colombia is P1. Juan Pablo Aristizabal from Colombia is 6th. Carlos Villavicencio is P1. Daniel Velez from Colombia is 2nd. Carlos Villavicencio is 10. Carlos Huertas from Colombia is P3 with 110 kilos. J.Enriquez from Colombia is P6 up 17.65 on softs. Santiago Idarraga from Spain is P6. Carlos Villavicencio is P2 up 0.32. "15 minutes remaining in the session. Carlos Villavicencio improved his P1 with a 146.500. Jean Ferrin from Colombia is P5 up 0.54. Jean Ferrin improved his P3 with a 146.848. .348 off pole. Santiago Idarraga is P9 up 9.17. Jose Miguel Moncada from Colombia is P11 up 15.73. Christian Gomez from Colombia is 4th up 0.46 on mediums. Christian Gomez improved his second with a 146.585. .085 off pole. Carlos Huertas is 5th. Juan Carlos Guerin from Colombia is 6th up 0.11 on mediums. Carlos Villavicencio is first up 0.25. Carlos Villavicencio is provisional pole with a 146.206. Sergio Perez from Colombia is P11 up 3.22 on softs. Minutes remaining in the session. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is 6th with 110 kilos. Ricardo Pineda improved his 6th with a 147.458. 1.252 off pole. Jose Miguel Moncada is P11. Camilo Gomez from Colombia is P12 up 0.89 with 110 kilos. Sergio Perez is P13 up 3.90. Juan Carlos Guerin is 7th up 0.33. Juan Carlos Guerin improved his 7th with a 147.584. 1.378 off pole. J.Enriquez is P9 up 0.36. Camilo Gomez is 12th up 1.30. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 8th up 0.42. Juan Pablo Aristizabal improved is 5th with a 147.326. 1.120 off pole. Jose Miguel Moncada is 11th up 0.98 driving a Chevrolet. Jose Miguel Moncada improved his 9th with a 149.144. 2.938 off pole. Daniel Velez is P3 up 0.18. Santiago Idarraga is 11th up 0.48. Five minutes remaining in the session. Santiago Idarraga improved his P11 with a 149.677. 3.471 off pole. Jean Parent is P4. Jean Parent improved his 3rd with a 146.589. 0.383 off pole. Sergio Perez is P13 up 4.27. Carlos Huertas is P6 up 0.36. Carlos Huertas improved his P5 with a 147.222. 1.016 off pole. Christian Gomez is P2 on softs. Christian Gomez improved his P2 with a 146.276. 0.070 off pole. J.Enriquez is P9 driving a Torino. J.Enriquez improved his 9th with a 148.576. 2.370 off pole. Sergio Perez is 13th up 0.68. Juan Carlos Guerin is P8 up 0.56. Daniel Velez is P4 up 0.11. Juan Carlos Guerin from Colombia is P8. The qualifying session is now in overtime. Sergio Flores is P12. J.Enriquez is third. Best lap is a 146.589. .383 off pole. The race session is advancing. Director entering the pits is P26. Carlos Villavicencio is first. Race start. Carlos Villavicencio is P1. Christian Gomez from Colombia is P3 on softs. Daniel Velez from Colombia is P8 on mediums. Sergio Perez from Colombia is P9 on softs. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is P4 with 110 kilos. Ricardo Pineda lost fourth to Christian Gomez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal from Colombia is P8. Juan Pablo Aristizabal lost P10 to Sergio Perez. Christian Gomez is P4. Sergio Perez is 10. Sergio Perez passed Camilo Gomez for P9. Daniel Velez is P6, 0.5 behind Ricardo Pineda. Camilo Gomez from Colombia is P10 with 110 kilos, 0.5 behind Sergio Perez. Daniel Velez is 6th, 0.4 behind Christian Gomez. Juan Carlos Guerin from Colombia is 7th on mediums, 0.5 behind Daniel Velez. Santiago Idarraga from Spain is 11th, 0.5 behind Camilo Gomez. Christian Gomez is 5th, 0.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Christian Gomez passed Ricardo Pineda for P4. Ricardo Pineda is 5th, 0.2 behind Christian Gomez. Juan Carlos Guillerin is 7th on mediums, 0.3 behind Daniel Velez. Daniel Velez is P6, 0.4 behind Ricardo Pineda. Camilo Gomez is 13th driving a Alfa Romeo, 0.4 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Sergio Perez is 10th, 0.2 behind Santiago Idarraga. Sergio Perez was 1.6 faster last lap. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 11th, 0.5 behind Sergio Perez. Daniel Velez is 6th, 0.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Daniel Velez passed Ricardo Pineda for 5th. Sergio Perez is P10, 0.3 behind Santiago Idarraga. Carlos Villavicencio from Colombia is P2, 0.3 behind Carlos Huertas. Santiago Idarraga is P10, 0.3 behind Sergio Perez. Carlos Villavicencio on lap 4 is 2nd, 0.4 behind Carlos Huertas. Ricardo Pineda is 7th with 110 kilos, 0.5 behind Juan Carlos Guillerin. Carlos Villavicencio is P2, 1.1 ahead of J.Enriquez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 10, 0.5 behind Sergio Perez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal was 1.6 faster last lap. Carlos Huertas from Colombia is 2nd with 110 kilos, 0.1 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Carlos Huertas lost P2 to J.Enriquez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 10th, 0.2 behind Sergio Perez. J.Enriquez from Colombia is 2nd, 0.4 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is P10, 0.4 behind Sergio Perez. Jean Perrin is second driving a Chevrolet, 0.5 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 10, 0.3 behind Sergio Perez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal was 1.8 faster last lap. Jean Ferrin from Colombia is P2, 0.5 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Sergio Perez is 13th on softs, 0.1 behind Camilo Gomez. Christian Gomez is 4th, 0.5 behind Carlos Huertas. Jean Perrin is second driving a Chevrolet, 0.5 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Christian Gomez is fourth driving a Ford, 0.5 behind Carlos Huertas. Christian Gomez was 4.7 faster last lap. Sergio Perez is 13th, 0.5 behind Camilo Gomez. Christian Gomez is P4, 0.5 behind Carlos Huertas. Sergio Perez is P13 on softs, 0.2 behind Camilo Gomez. Sergio Perez passed Camilo Gomez for P12. Jose Miguel Moncada from Colombia is 11th, 0.4 behind Santiago Idarraga. Santiago Idarraga is 11th. Daniel Velez is 5th, 0.5 behind Carlos Huertas. Daniel Velez passed Carlos Huertas for 4th. Carlos Huertas is P7, 2.8 ahead of J.Enriquez. Carlos Huertas lost P7 to J.Enriquez. Santiago Idarraga from Spain is 11th, 0.4 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Christian Gomez is P3, 0.5 behind Jean Perrin. Santiago Idarraga is 11th, 0.5 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Jose Miguel Moncada entering the pits is 11th. Christian Gomez is third, 0.3 behind Jean Perrin. Sergio Perez is 12, 0.5 behind Camilo Gomez. Christian Gomez from Colombia is P3, 0.5 behind Jean Perrin. Jose Miguel Moncada exiting pits on mediums. Carlos Huertas on lap 8 is P8, 0.8 behind J.Enriquez. Christian Gomez is third, 0.8 behind Jean Perrin. Sergio Perez is 12th on softs, 0.4 behind Camilo Gomez. Juan Carlos Guerin on lap 9 is 6th, 0.5 behind Ricardo Pineda. Camilo Gomez from Colombia is 12th, 0.5 behind Sergio Perez. Jose Miguel Moncada entering the pits is P13. Juan Carlos Guerin is 6th, 1.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Juan Carlos Guerin lost 8th to Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Jose Miguel Moncada exiting pits on mediums. Ricardo Pineda is P5. Ricardo Pineda entering the pits is 5th. Daniel Velez on lap 10 is 4th, 4.0 behind Christian Gomez. Christian Gomez was 0.6 faster last lap. Carlos Huertas is 6th, 0.4 behind J.Enriquez. Ricardo Pineda exiting pits on hards. Christian Gomez is 3rd, 0.8 behind Jean Perrin. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 7th, 0.3 behind J.Enriquez. Christian Gomez is P3, 1.6 behind Jean Perrin. Jean Perrin entering the pits is 2nd. Christian Gomez entering the pits is 2nd. Jean Perrin is P2 on softs. Sergio Perez is P10 on softs, 1.3 ahead of Ricardo Pineda. Carlos Huertas entering the pits is 8th. Carlos Huertas is P5 battling J.Enriquez. Carlos Huertas was 1.9 faster last lap. Christian Gomez exiting pits on mediums. Jean Ferrand exiting pits on mediums. Juan Carlos Guerin is P5, 0.4 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Carlos Huertas exiting pits on mediums. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is P4. Best lap is a 1:47.370. 0.976 off the fastest lap. Juan Carlos Guerin from Colombia is 5th, 0.3 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Juan Carlos Guerin lost P5 to Christian Gomez. Juan Carlos Guerin lost 6th to Jean Ferrand. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 4th driving a Chevrolet, 0.5 behind J.Enriquez. Sergio Perez is P9, 0.5 behind Santiago Idarraga. Sergio Perez was 3.9 faster last lap. Juan Carlos Guerin entering the pits is P7. Juan Carlos Guerin is P7. Santiago Idarraga entering the pits is P10. Santiago Idarraga is 8th. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is P12. Christian Gomez is P5 on mediums, 0.4 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Christian Gomez is now P4. J.Enriquez is P5. J.Enriquez lost 5th to Jean Ferrand. Christian Gomez on lap 12 is P4, 0.1 behind Juan Pablo Aristizabal. Santiago Idarraga exiting pits on mediums. Christian Gomez passed Juan Pablo Aristizabal for 3rd. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on mediums. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is 8th on hards, 0.7 behind Sergio Perez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal entering the pits is P4. J.Enriquez entering the pits is P6. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 4th. Daniel Velez is P2 driving a Ford. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 5th on mediums. Juan Pablo Aristizabal exiting pits on mediums. J.Enriquez from Colombia is P9. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is P10. J.Enriquez exiting pits on mediums. Juan Carlos Guerin exiting pits on softs. Ricardo Pineda is P7, 1.0 behind Sergio Perez. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on mediums. Daniel Velez is P2. Ricardo Pineda is P7, 0.8 behind Sergio Perez. Santiago Idarraga is P10 on mediums. Camilo Gomez entering the pits is 13. Daniel Velez is second on mediums. Daniel Velez entering the pits is second. Camilo Gomez exiting pits on mediums. Carlos Huertas on lap 14 is 8th on mediums, 2.2 behind Ricardo Pineda. Carlos Huertas was 1.2 faster last lap. Daniel Velez is 3rd on softs, 4.1 behind Christian Gomez. Christian Gomez was 1.6 faster last lap. Daniel Velez exiting pits on softs. Carlos Huertas is P8, 1.3 behind Ricardo Pineda. J.Enriquez entering the pits is 9. Juan Carlos Guerin entering the pits is P12. J.Enriquez is 9. J.Enriquez exiting pits on mediums. Juan Carlos Guerin exiting pits on softs. Ricardo Pineda on lap 15 is 7th, 1.1 behind Sergio Perez. Jean Parent is P4 on mediums, 1.1 behind Daniel Velez. Ricardo Pineda is 7th on hards, 0.2 behind Sergio Perez. Carlos Huertas is P8, 0.4 behind Ricardo Pineda. Ricardo Pineda is 7th driving a Alfa Romeo, 0.4 behind Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is P6, 0.7 ahead of Ricardo Pineda. Ricardo Pineda is P7 with 110 kilos, 0.8 behind Sergio Perez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is P5. Carlos Huertas entering the pits is P8. Carlos Huertas is 8th. Sergio Perez is P6, 0.5 ahead of Ricardo Pineda. Ricardo Pineda is P7. Best lap is a 1:48.091. 1.697 off the fastest lap. Carlos Huertas exiting pits on softs. Jose Miguel Moncada is 11th on mediums, 0.5 behind Carlos Huertas. Jose Miguel Moncada passed Carlos Huertas for 10. Juan Carlos Guerin is P12 on softs. Carlos Huertas is 11th, 0.5 behind Jose Miguel Moncada. Carlos Huertas passed Jose Miguel Moncada for P10. Ricardo Pineda from Colombia is P7, 0.4 behind Sergio Perez. Carlos Villavicencio entering the pits is first. Carlos Villavicencio is P1 driving a Chevrolet. Ricardo Pineda on lap 18 is P7, 0.3 behind Sergio Perez. Carlos Villavicencio is first. Carlos Villavicencio exiting pits. Carlos Villavicencio lost first to Christian Gomez. Carlos Villavicencio lost second to Daniel Velez. Sergio Perez is 6th, 0.5 ahead of Ricardo Pineda. Sergio Perez entering the pits is P7. Camilo Gomez is 13th on mediums. Jean Ferrand is 4th, 0.3 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Sergio Perez is 8th. Jean Ferrand is 4th driving a Chevrolet, 0.6 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Sergio Perez is 9th. Best lap is a 1:49.457. 3.067 off the fastest lap. Christian Gomez from Colombia is P2, 0.8 behind Daniel Velez. Jean Ferrand is 4th, 1.5 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Sergio Perez entering the pits is 9th. Sergio Perez entering the pits is P9. Sergio Perez is P9 on softs, 4.4 ahead of Carlos Huertas. Carlos Huertas was 43.9 faster last lap. Jean Ferrand is P4, 1.8 behind Carlos Villavicencio. Camilo Gomez is 13th. Carlos Villavicencio is 3rd, 1.3 behind Christian Gomez. Juan Pablo Aristizabal is 5th. Carlos Villavicencio is P3, 1.2 behind Christian Gomez. Carlos Villavicencio was 1.1 faster last lap. Carlos Huertas is 9th on softs. Carlos Villavicencio is 3rd, 0.5 behind Christian Gomez. The leader has just finished the race. Daniel Velez finished 1st. Santiago Idarraga finished 8th. Jean Perrin finished P2. Carlos Huertas finished 9th. Carlos Villavicencio finished P3. Camilo Gomez finished P12. Jose Miguel Moncada finished P10. Juan Pablo Aristizabal finished P4. Ricardo Pineda finished P5. J.Enriquez is 7th.